Okay, welcome back. Earlier today, during the news, Jerry and I were jawing back and forth, and I asked a question somewhat rhetorical. Why is the Epstein case constantly in the news, and yet it doesn't seem to come to a conclusion? Well, hopefully we can get an answer to that. I'm really honored to have with us today Nick Bryant. He's an investigative journalist who has spent his career exposing institutional cover-ups, is best known for the Franklin scandal, which has uncovered a child trafficking network protected by the state and federal authorities. In 2012, years before it made headlines, he began investigating the Jeffrey Epstein issue after obtaining what he calls, quote, the little black book. His latest book is called The Truth About Watergate, challenges the official narrative of Watergate scandal and reveals deeper political deception. Thus provoke the question, just how corrupt are things? He does have a website, nickbryantnyc.com, and there's a picture of the landing page there. So, Nick, thank you for your time. How are you?
Good. Good to be on your show.
Thanks. Where are you? Are you in New York?
I live about 4 blocks from Times Square.
Well, good for you. Sunny day there?
It's sunny, but it's cold.
Oh, okay. Thanks for your time. This is so interesting. I did ask the question, as I mentioned earlier this morning during our news cycle. Why is this story still in the news, and why can't we bring it in for a landing? What's your take?
I think that there are a number of reasons why this story is still in the news. The Trump administration promised transparency on the Epstein case, and I think a lot of people wanted transparency on the Epstein case. And when that didn't happen, on February 26, Pam Bondi said that she was going to release the Epstein files. And what she released was definitely had been in the public sector for many years. I put a copy of Epstein's Black Book on the internet and also his flight logs in 2015. So I released more incriminating information about Jeffrey Epstein and his network in 2015 than Pam Bondi and the Justice Department did in 2025. And Bondi then said that she'd been bamboozled by the FBI field office and she was going to get to the bottom of it. And she kept digging herself into a deeper and deeper hole. She said that she had a truckload of evidence and that any matters related to national security regarding these child molesters will be redacted. So now she has to tell us why a bunch of child molesters have any kind of bearing on national security. And then she said that there are tens of thousands of videos of Epstein with children or child porn, and there are hundreds of victims. And so she's kind of contradicting the narrative that the FBI came out with. But I think the crescendo of the mendacity is Pam Bondi acted like Epstein's files had been going, that they were going through for the first time, that the FBI and Department of Justice were going through it for the first time. A day or two after Jeffrey Epstein was arrested in 2019, the FBI opened up his safe and took out 300 gigabytes worth of material. According to the New York Times, there were hundreds, if not thousands, of images of child abuse material. And Business Insider reported that there were also hard drives. So what we have with Pam Bondi and Kash Patel and the Trump administration, they put out a memo on July 5th, July 6th, saying that there had been, in fact, 300 gigabytes of child abuse material, or material impounded from Epstein, and that there were over 1,000 victims. But then it said that Epstein and Maxwell had recruited all these victims by themselves, and that no one else was involved, and that there was no blackmail. And so the lies of Bondi just keep digging her deeper and deeper in a hole. And I think that those lies have really ignited attention on this issue.
Wow. Okay, so what do they gain by dragging their feet on this? I mean, that would suggest that there's notables in there that they're trying to protect. I mean, obviously, that's what it suggests. And why haven't they struck a deal with Maxwell on some kind of an immunity thing?
Well, Maxwell helped Epstein traffic underage girls for 25 years. And she was indicted on only one count. There were some other ancillary counts, but there was one count of child trafficking, which in the federal system is a heavy sentence. It's from 15 years to life. And she was put in a cush prison pretty quickly, a dormitory style prison. And then she was actually, and then she talked to Todd Blanche and said that exonerated Donald Trump. And then she was moved even to a Kusher prison in Texas. What I think is being hid, and I think that this is most likely an intelligence op. I mean, there's a lot of corroborating evidence that I think there's a lot of compromat that's being hid. And not only, I mean, certain individuals are getting protected, but I think that the main thing that's getting protected is a system that's rife with blackmail, that's perfidious and rotten to its core. That's what's being protected.
Okay, so reading between the lines from my layman position here, the former administration had this case for a long time, and if there was something in there that would have been damning to Trump or Republicans or high-profile Republicans, you think would have come out. Okay, but it didn't. And now the shoe's on the other foot, and we're still not getting anything.
With the Bush II administration started the cover-up of Jeffrey Epstein with his quote-unquote sweetheart deal that gave blanket immunity to all his co-conspirators. So it was Bush II that started the cover-up, and then Obama continued the cover-up, and then Trump continued the cover-up, and then Trump committed the cover-up again. So this has been covered up by two Democratic administrations, or two Democratic presidents and two Republican presidents. And it goes to what I said earlier, that what's being protected is a system that's rife with blackmail. And regardless if you're a Republican or a Democrat, you're going to protect it. I should add that when Bush II started the cover-up of Epstein with a non-prosecution agreement that gave blanket immunity to all his co-conspirators, that was done by Alexander Acosta in the Southern District of Florida. And Acosta was being vetted by the Trump administration, and they said to him, when he was going to be Secretary of Labor, they questioned him about Epstein, and he said, Epstein was intelligence, and I was told to stand down. Now, he's since walked that statement back, but Epstein had a huge network, and a U.S. attorney isn't going to go out on a limb to cover up a child trafficking network. They're going to have to, it's going to have to be sanctioned from the boss and his boss. And at that time, Alberto Gonzales was the Attorney General, and Bush II was, as I said, was the president. So the Attorney General isn't going to go out on a limb and cover up a nationwide child trafficking network unless his boss tells him to. Because constitutionally, there's only two people in the government that can tell a U.S. attorney to stand down. One is the Attorney General, and one is the president. So that's how high this cover-up goes.
So, given that, there is no real incentive to make a deal for Maxwell to talk.
Well, I mean, I think she saw what happened to Jeffrey Epstein, and that gave her motivation not to talk. And when Todd Blanche interviewed Maxwell. I mean, that was kind of a travesty. And I think it was designed to get Donald Trump off the hook. And Americans at this point want to know the truth. According to the Centers for Disease Control, 25% of underage girls and 5% of underage boys have been molested. And many people in the field think that it's slightly conservative for underage girls and very conservative for underage boys. But if you just go with those numbers, more than 50 million Americans have been molested when they were underage. And that's a lot of people. And I think this is why people want to hang on and don't want to let go of this story, because it's such a heinous crime to molest people.
One quick question. I have to get you back. I only got you for one segment. Let me just quickly ask you, so does the statute of limitations work here that sooner or later all this will be public?
The statute of limitation works in the federal system for sure, and this should be made public. And I started a nonprofit organization called Epstein Justice, and your audience can go to epsteinjustice.com. And we hold webinars, and we're putting people together by state, and we're growing. This is a tough slog. We're growing. We're not financed by anyone. This is just a grassroots effort of people who really want to do the right thing. And Epstein Justice is really needed in this case, because our government is not going to give us, and unless politicians experience a lot of fear, our government is not going to give us the truth about Epstein.
Amazing. Nick, thanks for your time. We'll get you back. Let me say to our viewers and listeners, check out nickbryantnyc.com is his website. You can check out some of his books, the Franklin Scandal, his latest one, The Truth About Watergate. I'd like to talk to you about that. And of course, his investigation concerning Jeffrey Epstein. We'll get you back. You're fascinating. Thanks for your time, sir.
Have a good day.
You too.